ICord is normally made on 2 double point needles. For those of you who are knitting the knitted knockers and are using 2 long straight needles, I'm going to show you a method of making ICord using the 2 straight needles. Now I'm using not the proper size for the project, but the proper size for demonstration, and I'm using, as you can see, 2 different colored needles so that you can understand what I'm doing and see it clearly. The first thing I'm going to do is start with a slip knot. And the pattern says to cast on 4 stitches. So I am going to do that on the light colored needle. 2, 3, and 4. And because I don't have double points where I can slide it, I'm going to take and I'm going to transfer those stitches now back over to my left needle. Whoops, I lost one. There. It just wanted to come out because it's just a wrap at this point. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. Now they're on my left needle, or the pink needle. And I'm going to take this working yarn, get my tail out of the way, and you see that the working yarn is closest to my finger and not closest to the point. So that when I start to knit that first stitch, I'm going to be drawing it across the back of my work. So I'm going to knit the first stitch. I'm going to draw it across the back and knit that first stitch. Then I'm going to knit the second stitch. And the third stitch. It's a little awkward because I've got the iPad up high and the knitting down underneath of it so that you can see what I'm doing from the front, and so my arms are in a really awkward position, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. Now I've knitted 1 row of ICord and I'm going to tug the tail, and you can see that my working yarn is right there. So if this was a double point needle, I would just slide it, but because it's not, I'm going to again take it, each stitch one by one, and put them back on to my left needle. There you go, and I'm going to tighten up that yarn. Now again, you'll see the working yarn is down at the bottom of my work instead of at the top where it normally is when we start knitting a row. So again, I'm going to bring it across the back, and as I knit that first stitch, that yarn will be in a really strange place across the back. But when I knit the stitch and tug, it forces it to close up across the back and make a tube. And that's what we're doing. We're making a little mini tube that will become the nipple part of the knitted knocker. And there you have your 2 rows of ICord. Now because the pattern says to knit 1 more row of ICord, knitting in the front and the back, you will have to again move the stitches over one at a time. Now all 4 stitches are back over, and you see how the yarn is again going to come across the back, but this time I'm going to knit in the front of the stitch, turn around and knit in the back, and make 2 stitches where there was 1. And I'm going to do that for 3 more stitches. And then I will have a total of 8. And then you'll be ready then to resume knitting normally, turning your work and purling the next row. So, and I have 1 more to go. And again, I want to knit in the front and the back of that stitch. Oops, missed the back there, got to go back through the back, wrap. And there you have 8 stitches. Now, for the first time, I will actually turn my work around and resume the pattern by purling the next row. So then you're back to knitting the way you're used to knitting.